Hello and welcome to WTN Presents, the interview show everyone's thinking about talking about.
WTN presents.
Welcome to WTN Presents. I'm your host, Mason Block. Today, WTN examines the sport of American football, specifically a mysterious football throwing accuracy competition known as bonomi. Bonomi is a global competition that annually crowns a single champion, and yet very little has been recorded or even written about the competition. WTN was able to secure this exclusive interview with bonomi's co-founder, who requested to be interviewed under a pseudonym. During the interview, he requested to be referred to only as Optimus Subprime. So, without further ado, are you ready for some football? Optimus, Mr. Subprime. So bonomi is a football throwing accuracy competition.
That's correct. It's the best in all the world, all vying for the bonomi championship. Multiple events, running, throwing, strategizing, all trading in the currency of football throwing accuracy.
Exciting. So this is secretive. It's global. But with this being focused on American football, I'm guessing many NFL stars are invited to compete?
It's really much more selective. NFL doesn't have scale. Look at the name NFL. It's national. Bonomi is global, and we don't invite competitors. They just sort of appear at the games.
So let me guess. Tom Brady has won bonomi.
Tom, sorry. Clue me in again on Thomas. We have so many competitors, it's hard.
Tom Brady, the MVP NFL quarterback who's won 7 Super Bowls?
Yes, right, Thomas. Or he wasn't even really a person that would be of sufficient renown for bonomi, not up to certain standards.
But the Super Bowls, no human, no quarterback, coach, anyone ever has matched Tom Brady.
Right, it keeps going back to that 7 Super Bowls and all. But I ask you, this man with his Super Bowls, is he hiding behind a sea of mates and really couldn't stand a chance here at bonomi? At bonomi, a person is here on an island. You see, in American football, a person is protected by maybe 50 mates. Multiply that across the Super Bowls. This Thomas, as you claim he's known, he has tens of thousands of mates hoisting him up.
Bonomi, it's a person, a ball.
One person against the field, against themselves.
So, where can folks view this year's bonomi championship?
Oh, there's no viewing, no photos, no videos. We only allowed you, as the only reporter, to see the games. In fact, we may actually have to blindfold you and only allow you to hear the games. I must speak to our strategist, Friedrich, about this.
Why all the secrecy?
To protect the lore of bonomi, the lore of the games. It's part of the strategy developed by Friedrich.
Your strategist.
A brilliant mind. He hailed from Britain or Ireland and came to the games not to play but to observe. He was, you know the expression, I saw it in my mind's eye? They actually scanned Friedrich's brains and discovered an actual eye in the center of his brains. He is the only living person that has an actual mind's eye.
But you have bonomi as a corporate sponsor. Surely they want the games to be publicized.
bonomi, the cleaner company, has no affiliation with the games. Many years ago, there were rumors that bonomi was sponsoring the games because the cleaner was pure and versatile.
That's not true?
Not at all. Bonomi is what it says it is, a competition. Request for only one thing, to accurately identify the person who, in all of existence, is the singular best at heaving an oblong ball into a dustbin.
I hate to do this, Optimus, But I have to ask again about the NFL.
Again with the NFL rubbish.
But Optimus, Mr. Subprime, the NFL is the face of American football.
Right, and our game is focused on throwing in American football, but I've watched the NFL, and the person throwing the ball is by the main quite disgusting.
You're saying NFL quarterbacks are disgusting?
Look, the playing begins with one man squatting over the ball, almost presenting his buttocks to the quarterback. Then the quarterback struts up right behind that man and places his hands directly on the center man's nether parts.
Well, since you put it that way...
Next, he begins to bellow as loudly as possible, shouting these inane comments like, "Red Gator, Rover Go, 75-82. It's all very perverse and primitive, like some kind of sexual ritual from hell. Finally, after all this endless braying, the ball is passed back and both sides basically try to kill each other. It's unwatchable drivel.
Let's talk bonomi. You've been doing this a long time. Who are the game's greatest champions?
That's hard to say. There are no written records.
Nobody keeping track. You said there were no cameras, but what about sports reporters?
None shall attend.
But, Mr. Subprime, you're missing out on a large online audience.
That's the point, isn't it? That's the law of bonomi. See, we don't care about these clickable baits, this social media tomfoolery. We care about the majestic, about the beautiful ball arcing and spiraling into the bin.
So, absent any written history, are there bonomi players that stand out to you in the many years of the games?
One man. It was a chap from Central or South America, a very lean man, very fit, with a long, sweeping throwing motion. Very, very passionate and volatile. Went by the name of Josetes.
This Josetes was bonomi champion?
No, the Josetes, he never did win. He came very, very close one year, but committed a foot fault at the very critical and wrong moment. The official immediately called it. This official was a large and frightening man from Latvia who carried a clipboard and wore protective goggles. This man, he showed up out of nowhere one year, maybe from Latvia, but they say he was also sighted in a northern desert area, wandering nomadically in a sort of a trance, where he would periodically shout, "Raise the bead," as he strode across the tundra. Anyway, he came to us and he basically announced, "I will be the head official." And I said, "Oh, right then, let's see some identification and some credentials." And he says, "There will be no identification. You won't judge me, I will judge you." And well, the sheer size and confidence of the man and his eyes, one would never look in this man's eyes, but he was a tremendous official.
It sounds imposing.
Frightening. And then there was a notable Frenchman, a tremendous all-round athlete by the name of Hebert. Competed very well, very animated. One season he came round shouting, stand down," to the competitors and officials, and he wouldn't be denied. And this led to a sort of standoff where Hebert and a Latvian judge shouted, "Stand down and check your angle and raise these bloody beads," and other things at each other. It was a tremendous display of showmanship, like two lions fighting for supremacy.
Intense.
And one other Frenchman who competed was this man named Marshy. They always said, "Marshy shall prevail," and he was quite good, highly intelligent on the rules of play.
He was a champion?
No, he never won a fucking thing. And please, if you don't mind, please print that in your reporting. Marshy didn't win a fucking thing.
These competitors, Optimus, you speak of them with a certain reverence.
They are great pillars of excellence.
So as we wrap up, Mr. Subprime, please tell our audience when and where this year's games will be held.
That's the beauty, the pageantry and lore. Nobody knows where the games will be held, when they will be held, if they will be held, or even if they ever took place at all.
Shrouded in mystery. If the games are held and a champion is crowned, what is the grand prize?
The prize is, and always has been, a trip to Egypt to visit a single site. Inside the site is a moderately sized obelisk, and within the obelisk is a small rotating orb. It mimics the spiral of an American football. It's a tremendous, tremendous honor.
Interesting. So the victor is taken on a tour by a travel company?
Now, the voyage to Egypt is very secret. Very secret passage is taken. I can only tell you that the victor travels not by land or sea or air.
What a strange and mysterious game, this bonomi football competition. What an astonishing man, this Optimus Subprime. In all my years as a journalist covering the world, including the world of sport, I have never witnessed anything like it. After I spoke with Mr. Subprime, I was permitted to attend one of the bonomi competition's qualifier rounds. Sadly, there is little to report as I was blindfolded. I could hear only the whistling of footballs in the air and the shouts of competitors. Near the end of the match, I distinctly heard a deep voice ring out, "Foot foul!" which was followed by an argument, at which point I was escorted from the grounds and placed into a waiting cab. Thank you for listening to this episode of WTN Presents. The next time you're in a conversation, please think about talking about WTN.
WTN presents WTN presents WTN presents WTN presents WTN presents.